Jinwoo fumbled with his apartment keys, exhausted after another long day at the electronics store. The fluorescent hallway lights flickered as usual, casting strange shadows on the worn carpet. But something felt different tonight. Wrong, even. Figure stood motionless beside his door, tall enough that her head nearly touched the ceiling. In the dim light, Jinwoo first thought she might be wearing some kind of costume or prosthetics. Her skin had an unusual pale blue tint, and what looked like thin silver wires ran along her arms and neck, like delicate tattoos. But as she turned toward him, those silver lines pulsed with soft blue light. "Jinwoo," she said, her voice carrying a strange musical quality that made his name sound foreign in his own ears. "You're late coming home tonight." He took a step back, his keys still dangling from his fingers. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Those eyes were too large, too bright, reflecting light like a cat's in the darkness. "Of course you know me. I'm Hana. I'm your wife." Jinwoo almost laughed. Almost. But something about her voice, the way she stood so perfectly still, made the sound die in his throat. "My wife? Look, I think you have the wrong apartment. I've never seen you before in my life. 3 years ago you fell asleep on my shoulder during the meteor shower," Hana said softly. "You said the shooting stars reminded you of your grandmother's stories about dragons flying across the sky." The keys slipped from Jinwoo's hand, clattering on the floor. He had never told anyone about those meteor showers, had never mentioned his grandmother's dragon stories to a single person. Those were private memories, locked away in the quiet corners of his mind. "How do you know that?" he whispered. Hana moved closer, her footsteps completely silent on the creaky hallway floor. "You have a scar on your left shoulder from when you fell off your bicycle at age 7. Your mother cried more than you did. You were more worried about the broken bicycle than your bleeding arm." Jinwoo's hand, instinctively, moved to his shoulder, where beneath his shirt lay a small crescent-shaped scar. His mother had indeed cried that day, holding him tight while the neighbor fixed his bike, but he had never ever told anyone that story. "Who are you?" His voice came out hoarse, barely above a whisper. Before Hana could answer, the elevator dinged at the end of the hallway. 2 security guards stepped out, their flashlights cutting through the dim space. Mr. Park from apartment 304 must have called them again about noise in the hallways. "Everything okay here?" the older guard called out, his beam of light moving between Jinwoo and the empty space where Hana had been standing. Jinwoo spun around. The hallway was empty except for him and the guards. No tall woman, no blue lights, no impossible knowledge of his childhood secrets. Just the flickering fluorescent lights and the smell of old carpet. There was someone here," Jinwoo stammered, looking around frantically. "A woman. Very tall. She was just here." The guards exchanged glances. "Sir, we've been watching the hallway cameras. You've been standing alone talking to yourself for the past 5 minutes." But as Jinwoo bent to pick up his keys, he noticed something that made his blood run cold. On the floor where Hana had stood, a single drop of that strange blue light flickered once before fading away into nothing. That night, Jinwoo's dreams changed forever. Instead of his usual meaningless jumble of daily worries, he found himself standing on a rocky cliff under twin purple moons. The air tasted metallic, and gravity felt lighter, making each step feel like he might float away. Beside him stood Hana, but this version of her looked different, battle-worn. Her silver lines glowed brighter, and she carried weapons that hummed with energy. "They're coming from the North Ridge," she said, pointing toward a dark valley. 3 hunter-pods, maybe more. Jinwoo looked down at his own hands and gasped. He wore armor he didn't recognize, sleek and black with glowing blue panels. Somehow he knew exactly how to use the strange rifle in his grip. His fingers moved over controls that should have been alien, but felt familiar. The hunters emerged, from the shadows like nightmares made of metal and wire. They moved on 6 spider-like legs, their bodies a twisted mix of machinery and something that might have once been alive. Red sensors swept the landscape, searching for prey. "Now," Hana whispered. Without thinking, Jinwoo rolled behind cover and began firing. Each shot hit its target perfectly. He moved like a trained soldier, anticipating the creature's movements. working in perfect sync with Hana. They fought as if they had done this dance 1,000 times before. When the last hunter fell, dissolving into silver dust, Hana turned to him and smiled. "Nice work, husband." Jinwoo woke up gasping, his sheets soaked with sweat. The dream had felt more real than his own bedroom. He could still taste that metallic air, still feel the weight of that impossible armor. For the next 3 nights, the dreams continued. Different battlefields, different enemies, but always the same pattern. He and Hana fighting side by side against the hunters. Each morning, he woke feeling like he had lived another life while sleeping. During the day, Jinwoo started noticing things, gaps in his memory that he had never paid attention to before. Last month, he couldn't remember anything from the 15th to the 22nd. His phone showed he had called in sick to work, but he didn't remember being ill. His bank statements showed he had bought groceries and paid bills, but those days felt like empty spaces in his mind. He checked his calendar, his emails, his text messages. The evidence showed he had been living his normal life during those missing weeks, but it felt like looking at someone else's activities. Then he found the envelope. It was sitting on his kitchen table when he came home from work, plain white with his name written in handwriting he didn't recognize. Inside was a medical file with his photo and personal information. The pages were filled with terms he didn't understand, but one phrase appeared over and over: selective memory suppression procedure. According to the file, he had undergone multiple sessions of something called neural pathway isolation. The 4 dates matched perfectly with his missing weeks. That's when Jinwoo started seeing her everywhere. At first it was just glimpses. A tall figure reflected in store windows when he walked past. A familiar silhouette in crowds that disappeared when he looked directly. The blue glow of her markings catching his eye from across busy streets. Hana was watching him. She never approached, never spoke, but she was always there, standing in the background of his daily life like a guardian he never asked for. Sometimes he would catch her eyes in the reflection of his phone screen while riding the subway. Other times, he would spot her on security cameras in the convenience store standing just outside the frame of where the clerk could see. The dreams and the watching continued for weeks. Jinwoo began to wonder if he was losing his mind, or if maybe, just maybe, the dreams were memories of a life he was supposed to forget. The first gift appeared on Jinwoo's windowsill on a Tuesday morning. He noticed it while brushing his teeth. A small potted flower, sitting outside his third-floor apartment window. The plant looked ordinary enough during the day, with delicate white petals and silver-green leaves. But when night fell, the entire flower began to glow with soft blue light, just like the markings on Hana's skin. Jinwoo stared at it through the glass, his toothbrush still in his mouth. He lived on the 3rd floor. There was no fire escape, no ledge wide enough for a person to stand on. How had someone placed a flower pot on his windowsill? The next morning, he found a small metal cube on his kitchen counter. It was no bigger than a dice, perfectly smooth on all sides except for tiny symbols that seemed to shift and change when he wasn't looking directly at them. When he picked it up, the cube felt warm and seemed to hum with energy that made his fingers tingle. He had triple-checked his locks the night before. The door was still bolted, the windows still latched. His apartment was on the 3rd floor of a building with security cameras and a front desk guard. Yet somehow, impossible gifts kept appearing. A week later, he found a small device that looked like a cross between a smartphone and a piece of jewelry. When he touched it, holographic images appeared in the air above his palm, showing star charts and planets he didn't recognize. The device responded to his thoughts somehow, zooming in on distant worlds when he wondered about them. Each gift felt familiar in his hands, like tools he had used before, but couldn't remember when or how. Jinwoo spent his evenings researching memory loss and brain manipulation online. What he found made his stomach turn. Government experiments, military programs, clinical trials that had been shut down for being too dangerous. Stories of people who had volunteered for memory modification and woke up as strangers to themselves. One research paper particularly caught his attention. It described a process called selective neural suppression, where specific memories could be locked away while leaving the rest of a person's mind intact. The subjects would live normal lives, never knowing that entire chapters of their existence had been hidden from them. The paper had been written by Dr. Kim Soo-min, a neuroscientist, who had disappeared 3 years ago. Her last known project involved working with international space agencies on something called Project Guardian. As Jinwoo read deeper into the night, his dreams became more intense and detailed. In one dream, he stood on the bridge of a massive spacecraft, wearing the uniform of what looked like an Earth defense force that didn't exist in the real world. Through the view screen, he could see a fleet of human ships preparing for battle. Soldiers saluted him as Commander Park, and he found himself giving orders with the confidence of someone who had done this many times before. "Sir, the Hunter fleet is approaching the Mars perimeter," reported a young officer with lieutenant's stripes. "All ships maintain formation," Jinwoo heard himself say. "We hold the line here. Earth depends on us." In another dream, he was training new recruits in a facility that looked like it was built inside an asteroid. Human soldiers from different countries worked together, learning to use weapons that wouldn't be invented for decades. Hana stood beside him, translating between the human commanders and alien allies whose names he somehow knew. Each morning, Jinwoo woke feeling more certain that his quiet life selling electronics in Seoul was the fantasy, and these impossible dreams were his real memories trying to break free. The gifts kept coming. A ring that made him invisible to security cameras, a pen that could cut through metal when activated, seeds that grew into plants overnight, filling his apartment with an alien garden that somehow felt like home. Hana never showed herself directly, but her presence filled every corner of his life. She was taking care of him, preparing him for something. The question was, preparing him for what? Jinwoo followed the address from the final gift, a small crystal that projected a map when he held it. The warehouse sat on the outskirts of Seoul, surrounded by empty lots and broken streetlights. Inside, soft blue light emanated from makeshift equipment that looked like it belonged in a science fiction movie. Hana stood with her back to him, working at a console covered in holographic displays. She had been expecting him. "You came," she said without turning around. "I wasn't sure you would." "I want answers," Jinwoo said, his voice echoing in the empty space. "I want to know what's happening to me." Hana finally faced him, and for the first time he saw sadness in those impossible eyes. "The truth will hurt more than the confusion. Try me." She gestured to a chair beside the console. As Jinwoo sat down, Hana activated a device that filled the air between them with three-dimensional star maps. Earth hung in the center, a small blue dot surrounded by red markers moving closer from all directions. "Those are hunter fleets," Hana explained. "They're a machine species that consumes planets for resources. They've been hunting Earth for 5 years, but they can't find it because we've hidden its location." Jinwoo stared at the display. "Hidden? It how?" "By erasing it from the minds of everyone who knew where it was, including you." The hologram shifted, showing what looked like a massive space station orbiting a purple star. Hundreds of ships from different worlds docked at its ports. "This is Alliance Command. You were Earth's representative there. Commander Park Jinwoo of the Terran Defense Corps." "That's impossible. I sell electronics. I've never left Seoul." Hana touched another control and suddenly the air filled with recordings. Jinwoo watched himself in that same black uniform from his dreams, standing before an assembly of alien beings. His voice carried authority as he spoke about Earth's defensive capabilities and strategic value. In another recording, he saw himself laughing with Hana in what looked like their quarters on the space station. She wore simple clothes instead of her battle gear, and the silver lines on her skin glowed softly as she leaned against his shoulder. "We were married 6 months after first contact," Hana said quietly. "The Alliance needed Earth's creativity and adaptability. My people needed to prove they could work with humans as equals, not conquerors, but we fell in love for real." The final recording showed their wedding ceremony on a crystal platform floating in space. Jinwoo watched himself place a ring on Hana's finger while representatives from a dozen worlds witnessed their union. The happiness on his face looked genuine, natural. "I don't remember any of this," Jinwoo whispered, "because you chose to forget." When the hunters developed the ability to extract memories from captured prisoners, the Alliance faced a terrible choice: Every human who knew Earth's location became a liability. If any of you were captured, Earth would be discovered and destroyed. Hana sat beside him, careful not to touch. 12 human liaisons volunteered for memory suppression. You could have stayed in space with me, but you wanted to go home. You said Earth needed people who would fight for it, even if they couldn't remember. Why, so you just erased our marriage? Not erased, hidden. I've been watching over you, protecting you, hoping that someday it would be safe to restore what you chose to sacrifice. Jinwoo stood up, pacing around the equipment. Everything she showed him felt true in a way his normal life never had. The dreams, the missing weeks, the way he instinctively knew how to use her gifts. It all made sense now. But accepting it meant accepting that his entire identity was built on a lie. If this is all true, he said slowly, then who am I really? The person sitting here now or the commander in those recordings? Hana's expression was gentle but firm. You're both. The question is, which one do you choose to be? The warehouse. Light suddenly flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. Only the blue glow from Hana's equipment provided any light. She moved instantly, her body tensing like a predator sensing danger. They found us, she whispered, her voice carrying a deadly edge Jinwoo had never heard before. Who found us? Before Hana could answer, the metal roof above them groaned and tore apart like paper. 3 spider-like creatures dropped through the opening, exactly like the hunters from Jinwoo's dreams. Up close, they were even more terrifying. Each one the size of a small car, with red scanner eyes and limbs that ended in razor-sharp claws. The first hunter landed between Jinwoo and Hana, its sensors sweeping the room with beams of crimson light. When the light touched Hana, the creature let out a mechanical screech that made Jinwoo's teeth ache. Target acquired. Terminate alien subject. Capture human for interrogation. Hana moved so fast, she seemed to blur. The silver lines along her arms brightened to brilliant white as panels in her skin opened, revealing weapons that emerged like organic parts of her body. Energy blasts erupted from her palms, striking the first hunter center mass and sending it crashing into the warehouse wall. The second hunter lunged at Jinwoo with claws extended. Time seemed to slow down as Jinwoo watched death approaching, but instead of freezing in terror, his body moved on its own. He rolled sideways, his muscles remembering training he couldn't recall. His hand found a piece of debris, a metal pipe, and somehow he knew exactly how to swing it. The pipe connected with the hunter's sensor array, sending sparks flying. The creature stumbled, temporarily blinded. "Behind you!" Hana shouted. Jinwoo spun around as the third hunter charged him. Without thinking, he grabbed one of Hana's alien devices from the console and activated it. The small cube expanded into a shield of pure energy just as the hunter's claws struck. The impact sent vibrations up his arm, but the shield held. He pushed back, driving the hunter away, then somehow knew to reverse the device's polarity. The shield became a blade of cutting energy that sliced through the creature's front legs. It collapsed, twitching as its systems failed. Hana had already finished her opponent. She moved with deadly grace, using her enhanced strength to tear apart the hunter's armor plating. Her cybernetic parts weren't just for show. They made her faster, stronger, and more precise than any human could be. The first hunter, damaged but not destroyed, tried to escape through the hole in the roof. Hana grabbed a weapon that looked like a rifle but hummed with energy. She aimed and fired once. The hunter exploded in a shower of metal fragments. Silence fell over the warehouse. Jinwoo stood among the wreckage, still holding the energy device, his heart pounding. He had just fought 3 alien killing machines and survived. More than survived, he had fought like a trained soldier. "How did I do that?" he asked, staring at his hands. Hana approached slowly, her weapons retracting back into her skin. "Your body remembers what your mind has forgotten. We trained together for months. You were one of the best human fighters in the Alliance." Jinwoo looked at the destroyed hunters. In his dreams they had been terrifying but distant. Now he had felt their weight, heard their mechanical voices, smelled the ozone from their energy weapons. It was all real. "The way we fought together," he said quietly, like we knew each other's moves. "We were partners in everything: combat, diplomacy, life. Hana's voice was soft but urgent. But now they've found Earth's general location. The full invasion will begin soon. These were just scouts. Jinwoo felt the weight of impossible responsibility settling on his shoulders. What do we do now? Now. You have to choose whether to remember who you really are. Hana led Jinwoo to a chair surrounded by strange medical equipment. Thin cables snaked from a helmet-like device, connecting to machines that pulsed with the same blue light as her markings. The setup looked both advanced and makeshift, like something built in secret. This is a neural restoration unit, she explained, her fingers dancing over holographic controls. It can unlock the memories we sealed away 3 years ago. Jinwoo stared at the helmet. It looked innocent enough, but something about it made his skin crawl. Will it hurt? Pain would be the least of your problems. Hana's expression was grave. Your mind has been living a lie for 3 years. When the truth floods back, it might shatter your sense of reality completely. Some people never recover from that kind of shock. She pulled up a holographic display, showing brain scans. You'll remember watching entire planets burn. You'll remember friends dying in your arms. You'll remember the weight of commanding soldiers who trusted you with their lives. And you'll remember our love, which will make losing it again even more painful. Jinwoo felt his hands shaking. Again? What do you mean again? If your memories return, you'll have to live with knowing what we had and what we lost. The happy marriage, the plans we made, the future we'll never have. Hana's voice cracked slightly. Right now, you're just confused. If you remember, you'll be heartbroken. The weight of the choice pressed down on him. Stay ignorant but safe, or remember everything and possibly lose his sanity. What happens if I don't do it? You continue your normal life. Sell electronics, watch TV, worry about bills. The other alien guardians and I will keep protecting Earth from the shadows. You'll never know how close humanity came to extinction, or how many people died to keep you safe. Other guardians? Hana nodded sadly. 12 human liaisons volunteered for memory suppression. Each of them had alien partners who stayed behind to watch over Earth. We've been living in secret for 3 years, protecting our sleeping loves. She showed him pictures on the holographic display. A tall, scaled being standing outside a coffee shop in Busan, a floating jellyfish-like creature hidden in the ceiling of a hospital in Daegu, a rock-like alien disguised as a statue in a park in Incheon. Minsu works as a teacher now, Hana explained, pointing to one image. He doesn't remember commanding the evacuation of Europa Station or saving 30,000 colonists. His partner Zelix has been posing as a janitor at his school for 3 years, just to stay close to him. Another image showed a woman leaving a bakery. Yunji used to be our best pilot. She could fly anything with wings or engines. Now she makes bread and has no idea her wife Vortana has been sleeping in the bakery's basement, ready to fight if the hunters ever found her. Jinwoo felt overwhelmed by the scope of sacrifice these couples had made. They all chose to forget? They chose to let their partners carry the burden alone. Love isn't always about being together. Sometimes it's about protecting the person you love from pain they don't need to bear. Hana sat across from him, her glowing eyes reflecting years of loneliness. I could make this choice for you. I could restore your memories while you sleep, and you'd wake up as Commander Park. But that wouldn't be fair to either version of you. What would you do if you were me? I'm not human. I don't understand how your minds work, how you balance emotion and logic. She gestured to the neural device. But I know that ignorance is a kind of prison. You may be safe, but you're not free. Jinwoo looked at his hands, still stained with the hunter's machine oil from the fight. If I remember, will I still be me? You'll be who you always were. The electronics salesman was just a character you played to stay hidden. The warehouse felt too quiet, too small for such an enormous decision. Outside, Seoul continued its daily routine, millions of people unaware that their planet was under siege by alien machines. Inside, one man had to choose between comfortable lies and devastating truth. How long do I have to decide? Hana's expression darkened. The hunter scouts transmitted our location before I destroyed them. The main fleet will arrive within days, maybe hours. If you're going to remember who you are, it needs to be now. The Decision was taken away from Jinwoo as alarms began wailing throughout the warehouse. Hana's equipment lit up with urgent red warnings as dozens of signals appeared on her displays. "They're here," she whispered, her face going pale. The main fleet just dropped out of hyperspace. Through the broken roof, Jinwoo could see the night sky changing. What had been stars moments before were now moving lights, hundreds of them, growing larger as they descended toward Earth. The hunter fleet looked like a swarm of angry wasps against the darkness. Hana's communication device crackled to life with panicked voices speaking in different languages. She translated as reports, flooded in from around the globe. "Zalix in Busan, hunter dropships landing near the port. Vortana in Daegu, hospital district under attack. Korvac in Incheon. They're targeting the military bases first." The alien guardians were fighting back, but Jinwoo could hear the desperation in their voices even through the translation. They were outnumbered 1,000 to 1. "We need to evacuate the city," Jinwoo said, but Hana shook her head. "There's nowhere to run. They're landing everywhere at once." She pulled up a global map showing red dots appearing across every continent. "This is a full planetary invasion." The ground shook as explosions echoed from the direction of downtown Seoul. Through the warehouse windows, Jinwoo could see orange flames lighting up the skyline. The hunter ships were bombing civilian areas, causing maximum chaos and terror. "Why aren't Earth's defenses fighting back?" Jinwoo asked. "Where are the military jets, the missiles?" "That's the problem." Hana's fingers flew over her controls, accessing what looked like classified defense networks. "Earth has weapons that could stop this invasion. Orbital defense, platforms, quantum missiles, shield generators, but they're all locked behind security codes that only the memory-suppressed liaisons know." She showed him schematics of weapon systems he didn't recognize, advanced technology that was decades ahead of anything publicly known. The Alliance helped Earth build a secret defense grid 3 years ago, but it requires authorization from human commanders to activate. Then call them, get the other humans to remember. "We're trying." Hana's communication device showed she was connected to the other Guardians. On split screens, he could see alien beings desperately trying to wake their human partners. In one window, Zalix was shaking Minsu awake in his apartment. The teacher looked confused and terrified as explosions lit up the sky outside his bedroom window. "I don't know any codes," Minsu was shouting. "I teach elementary school." Another screen showed Vortana trying to explain the situation to Yunji, while hunter ships flew overhead. The baker kept insisting it was all a bad dream, even as alien fighters strafed the street outside her shop. "They don't believe it's real," Hana said grimly. 3 years of normal life made the suppressed memories feel like fantasies. They think we're all having some kind of shared delusion. The warehouse shook again as something massive crashed nearby. Through the broken roof, Jinwoo could see a hunter mothership settling over downtown Seoul like a metallic storm cloud. Smaller ships poured from its belly, spreading across the city like a plague. "How long before Earth falls?" he asked. "At this rate, 6 hours, maybe less." Hana's displays showed casualty reports streaming in from around the world. The numbers were climbing fast. The hunters aren't just conquering Earth, they're harvesting it. Every person they capture gets their memories extracted before they're processed into raw materials. Jinwoo felt sick. Billions of people were about to die because 12 humans couldn't remember who they used to be. There has to be another way. There is. Hana looked at him with desperate hope. If just one liaison remembers their codes, they can activate the entire defense grid. One person could save the planet. She gestured to the neural restoration device. "You were the senior commander. Your authorization codes can override all the others. But the process takes time, and we don't have much left." Another explosion. Closer this time. The warehouse lights flickered as power lines were severed somewhere in the city. Outside, Jinwoo could hear the mechanical screech of hunter machines and the distant screams of people running for their lives. "If I don't remember, everyone dies. If you don't remember, humanity becomes extinct in the next few hours." The weight of 8 billion lives settled on Jinwoo's shoulders. His comfortable ignorance had just become the most expensive luxury. In human history, Jinwoo sat in the neural restoration chair as another explosion shook the warehouse. "Do it," he said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "I choose to remember." Hana placed the helmet on his head with trembling hands. "I'm sorry for what this will do to you," she whispered, then activated the device. The pain hit him like lightning striking his brain. Jinwoo screamed as 3 years of locked memories came flooding back all at once. It felt like his skull was being split open and rebuilt with each returning thought. First came the faces, Admiral Chen briefing him about first contact, Dr. Rodriguez explaining Earth's secret defense projects, his own reflection in a mirror, wearing the black uniform of the Terran Defense Corps with commander's insignia on his collar. Then came the emotions. The wonder of seeing his first alien world, with its purple sky and floating cities. The pride of representing humanity before the Galactic Alliance Council. The responsibility of knowing that Earth's survival depended on his decisions. And then came Hana. He remembered their first meeting in the Alliance Station's diplomatic quarters. She had been assigned as his cultural liaison, helping him understand the complex politics between dozens of alien species, her awkward attempts at human humor, the way her biolights flickered when she was nervous, their first real conversation during a meteor shower, when she asked him about Earth's legends and he told her his grandmother's dragon stories. The moment he realized her strange beauty wasn't alien anymore, it was just Hana. Their wedding ceremony on Crystalline Station, a transparent platform floating in the rings of a gas giant. Representatives from 40 worlds had attended, but Jinwoo only saw her glowing face as they exchanged vows in 3 different languages. The memories kept coming, faster now. Planning Earth's defense grid, training with human soldiers who would never know their planet was in danger, the growing threat of the hunter fleets and their terrifying ability to extract information from prisoners. The final desperate meeting, where 12 human liaisons volunteered to have their memories suppressed. The tears in Hana's eyes as she agreed to watch over him from the shadows. The neural procedure that would turn Commander Park into Jinwoo the electronics salesman. "I remember everything," he gasped, pulling off the helmet. His head felt like it was on fire, but his mind was clear for the first time in 3 years. "I remember you. I remember us." Hana's face lit up with hope and relief. "Welcome back, Commander." Jinwoo stood on shaky legs and moved to the communication console. His fingers found the controls automatically, muscle memory taking over. "Emergency authorization, Commander Park Jinwoo, Alpha 77 Omega. Activate all planetary defense systems." The console came alive with confirmations. Across the globe, hidden weapons platforms powered up for the first time in 3 years. Orbital defense satellites locked onto hunter ships. Quantum missile silos opened their hatches. "Connecting to all Guardian units," Jinwoo announced through the communication network. His voice carried the authority of someone used to commanding soldiers in life-or-death situations. "This is Commander Park. Earth's defenses are online. All Guardians begin coordinated strikes on priority targets." The responses came back immediately, filled with relief and recognition. Zalix in Busan. "Commander, we're engaging Hunter ground forces now." Vortana in Daegu. "Defense grid is beautiful, sir. Hunters didn't see this coming." Jinwoo activated the main tactical display, showing Earth surrounded by the Hunter fleet. But now blue dots were appearing everywhere. Earth's secret weapons coming online. "Target the motherships first. Without their command structure, the smaller ships will be confused and vulnerable." He opened channels to the other memory-suppressed liaisons. "Minsu, Yunji, this is Commander Park. I know you're confused, but listen to my voice. You know who I am." Through the communication system, he could hear the other humans beginning to respond. Bits of memory were returning as they heard his familiar command tone. Minsu started reciting targeting codes. Yunji began coordinating with orbital platforms. "That's it," Jinwoo encouraged them. "You don't need full memory restoration. Just remember your duty. Remember why we chose to protect Earth." The tide of battle began to turn. Hunter motherships exploded as quantum missiles found their targets. Ground forces found themselves trapped between alien guardians and suddenly, active human defense systems. Hana worked beside him, coordinating with the other alien guardians while he managed Earth's military response. They moved together like they had during their marriage, anticipating each other's needs, covering each other's weaknesses. "It's working," Hana said, watching the tactical display. The hunter fleet is retreating, but Jinwoo knew this was just the beginning. They'll be back with a bigger fleet. Earth can't hide anymore. He looked at Hana, seeing his wife clearly for the first time in 3 years. We need to contact the Alliance. It's time for humanity to take its place among the stars. The final hunter mothership exploded in Earth's upper atmosphere like a dying star, its wreckage burning bright orange streaks across the dawn sky. From the warehouse, Jinwoo watched through Hana's displays as the last enemy fighters fled into deep space, their invasion force completely shattered. "Orbital defense platforms report all clear," came Zelix's voice through the communication system. "Hunter fleet has retreated beyond sensor range." Jinwoo leaned back in his chair, exhausted but victorious. Around the world, the other Guardians were checking in with similar reports. Earth's secret weapons had worked perfectly, catching the hunters completely off guard. They never expected humans to fight back with such coordination, Hana said, reviewing the battle data. Most species either surrender immediately or fight chaotically, but you managed to turn 12 confused civilians into a unified command structure in minutes. "That's what humans do," Jinwoo replied, thinking about how naturally Minsu and Eunji had fallen back into their military roles once they heard his voice. "We adapt. We work together, even when we don't understand why." But as the immediate danger passed, a new problem emerged. Reports were flooding in from around the globe. Millions of people had witnessed the battle. Videos of alien ships and impossible weapons were already spreading across social media, faster than any government could suppress them. "Humanity knows about aliens now," Jinwoo said, watching news feeds from major cities. "There's no going back to the secret war." Hana nodded grimly. "The Alliance will need to make contact officially. Earth can't be hidden anymore." Over the next few days, as world governments scrambled to explain the impossible footage, Jinwoo worked with the Alliance Council through quantum communication links. The decision was unanimous. Earth would be invited to join the galactic community as a full member, not just a protected world. But this victory came with a price. "The other liaisons want their memories fully suppressed again," Jinwoo explained to Hana as they walked through Seoul's streets. The city was rebuilding quickly, but scorch marks on buildings served as reminders of how close they had come to destruction. "They can't handle knowing about the war, about what they've lost. And you?" Jinwoo stopped walking and looked at her. So after days of coordinating with alien allies and managing Earth's integration into galactic politics, he felt more like Commander Park than ever. But he also remembered the simple piece of his life as an electronics salesman. "I want something different," he said. "No more memory suppression, but no more hiding either." They worked with Alliance scientists to develop a new protocol. Instead of erasing memories, they would create cover identities that could exist alongside the truth. The other liaisons could choose to remember their cosmic responsibilities while maintaining normal human lives. Minsu returned to teaching, but now he also served as Earth's education liaison with alien worlds. His students thought his stories about other planets were just creative lessons. Eunji kept her bakery, using it as a cover for coordinating supply runs to Alliance stations. For Jinwoo and Hana, the solution was elegantly simple. "Everyone, I'd like you to meet my wife," Jinwoo announced to his neighbors at the apartment building's monthly meeting. "This is Hana. She's from up north." Hana bowed politely, her biolights dimmed to barely visible levels. "Nice to meet you all. I work in technology consulting." Mrs. Kim from 402 squinted at Hana's unusual height and pale skin. "You look very exotic, dear. Are you mixed race?" "Something like that," Hana replied with a perfectly straight face. The neighbors accepted her easily enough. Seoul was an international city, and they had seen stranger things than a tall foreign woman with interesting fashion choices. No one questioned why Jinwoo's wife always wore long sleeves or why their apartment sometimes glowed softly at night. Within months, Earth's integration into the galactic community was proceeding smoothly. Humanity's natural curiosity and adaptability made them ideal allies. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers. Human artists collaborated with beings from dozens of worlds. "You were right about humans," Hana told Jinwoo one evening, as they stood on their apartment balcony, watching Alliance shuttles discreetly coming and going from a hidden spaceport outside the city. Your species doesn't just survive, you make others want to help you survive. Jinwoo put his arm around his wife, marveling at how perfectly she fit against his side, despite being nearly a foot taller. The hunters made one mistake. They thought conquest was about superior technology and overwhelming force. What's it really about? Making people care about your future. He gestured toward the city below, where 8 million humans were going about their daily lives, most of them unaware that their planet was now part of something magnificent and vast. The Alliance didn't save Earth just because we asked. They saved it because we made them care about us. Above them, hidden among the stars, patrol ships from a dozen worlds kept watch over Earth's skies. Humanity had found its place in the universe, not through conquest or submission, but through the simple act of inspiring others to love them. And in apartments and houses around the world, alien guardians lived quietly beside their human partners, protecting a species that had somehow learned to make the impossible feel like home.